last night. Was there anything that stood out to you about why you were able to perform that way for the four quarters?
I mean, the numbers panned out that way, that we played really, really good defense. I thought our defense was better, but, in retrospect, they missed a lot of shots, just being honest. Daniels got off 8 threes in the first half. I don't know how many total threes, 30-plus threes in the game. Some of them were open, some of them were just missed. But I did think that our defense was better. I think our defense gets better when our communication's better, and that's the biggest thing, is continuing to communicate. But we did do a good job in some areas. I just thought that we were fortunate in certain situations that they had some looks that just didn't go in.
With a situation like that where Daniels gets that many shots off, is it typically a physical thing, just not getting there in time, or is it going under screens instead of going over the top of them?
Well, with him, it was a lot of off-ball stuff where we just have to have the recognition and the awareness of where he is and the urgency to get over screens. Some of it, for him is a lot of screening actions. There was some dribble penetration and kick to him. He didn't obviously have a great shooting night in the game. Really no one on their team shot the ball particularly well. They got off to a really good start offensively. Those shots were going in for them. That's why we were down 17-10. But as the game unfolded, they just weren't able to make those kind of shots. Now, I think we had something to do with that. I think our effort did. I think the way we worked, it did. But I still think that we can be better in that area.
How much pressure does a guy like Brewer, as he gets acclimated to the way you do things defensively, how much pressure does he take off your team at that end of the floor?
Corey's good because he's active. He had a couple of good plays where he covered up a lot of potential problems. Because of his activity, his biggest thing is going to be just maintaining that high level of discipline. On defense, as he learns our scheme, some of it is not quite second nature to him, which is understandable, but trying to get him disciplined in what we're doing. But I thought his activity and his willingness to want to help and get involved, showed last night.
His ability to clean things up is what you've missed in Dre's absence, isn't it?
Yeah, he did do that in a couple situations, where he was in a position, guarded his man, the ball got kicked, he kind of helped, he switched, he did some things that led to Steven getting a block shot, he plugged off some different gaps, so he's capable of doing that, but I think he'll be able to hopefully be better at that as the more and more he learns just the terminology and what we're doing stylistically.
Really asked Paul about this last night, but those fourth quarter minutes that we got, even when you guys had a big lead, was that sort of a collaboration between you and him in terms of trying to get him going on the field?
Well, going into the fourth, I think it was a 21-point game at that point in time, and 12 minutes in an NBA game, long time. So I just wanted to go back with him to start the fourth because he was in foul trouble. He only played maybe 4 or 5 minutes in that third quarter. I thought our second unit, at the end of the first, beginning of the second, we struggled. I thought having him out there for a little bit would be good. So, just let him, once he got going, just let him play a little bit. But I elected to put him back in the fourth. It wasn't, so much he and I talking about, hey, what do you think here? I didn't think the game was over with in the fourth quarter. Obviously, once we got a little bit deeper into it, it was. But really, we didn't necessarily talk much about it.
When he has those games where he gets into foul trouble, do you think it's important for him to finish on a high note like that in order to get a couple of shots? He scored like 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. Paul's a team guy. He plays the right way. It's not even so much about him scoring because he doesn't really – he's not wrapped up in that. He's more wrapped up in trying to play the right way and moving past the basketball. I thought I kept him out there. He was in a pretty good rhythm. He was playing okay, and I think I took him off the floor maybe 5 minutes to go. I gave him maybe a little bit of a run there, and then we got up by 25 or 26 or whatever it was. But I don't feel that way. That I've got to help him get into a rhythm or a flow on his own because of what happened with the fouls. He's going to play the game in a way that's made him a great player.
How important is what you want to get out of your offense in terms of the three-point shot, guys catching the ball in rhythm? Because I think there was a play where Russell hit Carmelo on a trail, and the pass was high, and Russell basically apologized to him. And there's a situation where Patrick might pass to Josh in the corner, and it's not exactly right there in his rhythm. How important is that in terms of what you want to get out of your three-point shot?
That's something that was a huge emphasis this morning. We're passing the ball to guys who are open at the three-point line, and we're taking guys out of three-point shots. And I do think that that does affect your shooting percentage as a team. Now, there's certain times where a ball may get deflected or you're a little bit off balance and it may not be exactly perfect. But I thought on a lot of passes in the game, we were way off target, way off target. And it wasn't just Russell's pass to Carmelo. There was a couple, Paul had an opportunity to hit Raymond at the top. The ball got kind of deflected. It took him out of a shot. There was a pass that was thrown to Corey where he was open in the corner. He had to kind of reach back and grab it. We've got to be better putting the ball in places where it leads a guy into the shot rather than taking him out of a shot.
How valuable is Corey's experience against a team like the Spurs tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, Corey's played with a lot of different players, so I think for him, he's getting adjusted here. I'm happy that he's on our team. I think he can help us. Hopefully his experience will be important to us going forward, not only against the Spurs, but anybody we play against. He's still got to keep getting better. He's got to still keep learning what we're doing. But I do think that he can help our team.
Is it mandatory playing against a team that plays with the discipline that San Antonio does? Is it mandatory to have that sense of discipline?
Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean. You can use, I think, a lot of different words for them. The one thing about it is, to me, I think that they play the game the right way. They move the ball, they share the ball. There's a lot of cutting, there's a lot of movement. Obviously, their team has changed. Over when I first got into the league, their team's changed personnel-wise, but they're going to play to their system and do what they do. I think that in fact entails them being disciplined. It entails them moving the basketball. It entails them playing unselfishly. It entails them guarding and playing defense together. I think there's a lot of things that go into that. We've got to play well, and it's the same thing for us. I think every team is striving for those same things, those same qualities all the way through.
Really, because of that, do you prepare? This is going to sound simple, but do you prepare for the Spurs, just regardless of who is out there? Are they going to do a lot of the same kinds of things? Because they've had so much in and out with their roster.
No, I mean, they're going to go to certain matchups. I mean, they're going to try to get Aldridge in certain situations. They're going to try to get Patty Mills certain screening action. Same thing with Danny Green. They're going to, put Ginobili in a lot of pick and roll. I mean, they have their system, but they're certainly, looking to put guys in positions to do what they do best. But one of the things that's going to happen is if there is double team, there is help. They're very, very good at moving the ball, and you've got to have the stamina to keep up with that. And I think they do a great job of when the ball gets ahead of the defense, you're playing catch up. That's where they usually generate really, really good shots. So, I think regardless systematically, I mean, they've, and I think Pop, because of probably your point, the turnover a little bit with players not being out there. As a coach, you always got to adjust to do different things. So, they've got their system, but they've tweaked and they've done things different than what they did early in the year when they were had a fully healthy roster. So I think you're always forced to look and do different things based on what's going on with your team, and they're as good as anybody adjusting to what they need.
What do they do best defensively? Obviously, they're one of the best in the league.
Well, the biggest thing they do is they don't foul. That's the thing. They don't foul very much. They really kind of pack the lane. They try to get out and contest shots. They do a good job of getting back in transition, of trying to take away easy baskets. It's a game where they're trying to, I think, win the free throw line battle. They're trying to win the turnover battle, taking care of the ball. And I think the other part is them generating good shots. That's really what they're trying to do offensively. Is regardless of who's shooting and scoring, is you're generating good offense.
Billy, it seems like every year San Antonio specifically is really good at not sending guys to the line. What do they do? Is it fundamental? Is it just hitting rotations on time so guys don't get sloppy? Like what is it that makes them so good at that?
Well, I think that they have had a lot of length at the basket. Gasol and Aldridge are really, really long players, and they do a really good job protecting the rim, and they try to play vertical, and they try to keep their hands up, and they try to avoid fouling. So their size of the basket's really kind of been, I think, a key factor to that, where they've kind of put a lot on those guys playing at the rim to make people have to finish over them.
Presumably Corey's going to start tomorrow?
I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't want to jump to any conclusions on that.
How's Terrence doing?
He's in the concussion protocol right now, so we'll probably know more but he's got a concussion. And what that process is, how long it takes, he's going to have to pass those series of tests.
When something like that happens, I mean, you got to continue to try to manage the game, but that's one of your guys down there knocked out. How do you get yourself through a moment like that?
Well, I mean, obviously you feel bad because I think Terrence is out there playing, and he's a young guy, and you like seeing him have the opportunity to be out there on the court, and he was playing well. But in a lot of ways, it's the medical staff. You know, I trust those guys. He's in good hands with those people. And my job's to coach, so if he's not available to come back in, I've got to work and focus on the guys that are available.
Anybody else?